Imagine you were born and raised in a place where people communicated mostly through stories and pictures and music, rather than through reading and writing. Well, this is reality for 2/3 of the world's people today. Let me tell you about an incredible opportunity to impact these people.
This is Abhinav Satpathy.
I met Abhi back in 2010 in Delhi, India during a seminar for Indian leaders. Abhi showed up to satisfy his personal hunger to grow as a leader. He also wanted to learn to cultivate other leaders in his ministry to be effective. Abhi grew up in a rural village in Orissa, India, with no electricity, no running water. He was the first person in his family to finish local school. Abhi was training to become a Hindu priest when he was miraculously converted to become a follower of Jesus Christ. He obeyed God's leading to the big city to go to Bible college, where he prepared to be a church leader. Abhi was a star student, so after graduating from the Bible college, he began teaching there. But after several years, the Lord put a burden on Abhi's heart to return to Orissa to share the gospel with his family and friends. So he went back to his village and began to preach sermons and to teach, much like he had taught in the Bible college. But no one responded. Nobody was choosing to follow Jesus. Abhi said, all that I learned and taught in the Bible college, it just didn't work among my own people. Abhi was discouraged. After searching and praying, Abhi was introduced to this idea of using stories and pictures and drama to communicate the gospel. And so Abhi traded in his preaching for Bible stories. He replaced his Western shirt and tie with a local kurta shirt. Instead of standing behind a pulpit, he sat cross-legged on the floor in homes to tell the Bible stories and to sing those stories with local tunes. And you know what happened? People responded to the stories beyond Abhi's imagination. Since 2007, the ministry he leads in Orissa has planted more than 800 churches and baptized over 5,000 new followers of Jesus Christ. But then came a problem, a major problem.
As we took on the oral communication method, the churches started to grow very fast, and we had exponential growth in our churches. And we were planting churches everywhere, but we didn't have adequate leaders being trained to take over. And so though the churches were being planted, but they were not getting stronger. We were in need of leaders.
Leadership. This is the big need. And not just for Abhi's ministry, but for ministries in those parts of the world where people are really good at sharing the gospel and planting churches, but not so good at leading a healthy church. The church in these areas is multiplying faster than its capacity to develop competent leaders. One church planting movement says that over 40% of these churches are failing for lack of competent, Christ-centered leadership.
I had read a lot of books in my academic side on leadership that was very different. That was a book-oriented, very bookish and intellectual thing. And I didn't know how to convert that to my oral people and develop leaders. I was thinking that it's only the educated people can become leaders. So I had no hope to raise leaders from the grassroots level. But when FTL came to us, we had a hope, we got a hope that yes, those grassroots people who cannot read and write also can become leaders.
Freedom to Lead International began in 2009 to address this urgent need to develop ministry leaders, the ones like Abhi just described. Our mission is to cultivate these leaders to become competent, Christ-centered leaders through using story and symbol and song so that the whole gospel can be unleashed in their communities. To share a little context, not very long ago, I wouldn't have dreamed of starting a ministry like this. In 2007, I was part of a leadership team that was preparing for a major congress. I remember well the day our team received an exciting report about the rapid increase of conversions and church growth in many nations due to story-centric strategies, or what Abhi called the oral communication method. I paid close attention to the part of the report that described that these story-centric churches are multiplying But there was no leadership development that addresses the unique needs of these story-centric leaders. And up to that time, I had invested a lot of my ministry life to come alongside leaders with teaching and mentoring and executive coaching, but the tools of my trade were mostly literacy-based. Concepts and abstract ideas and systems. The report I heard that day was an aha moment. The burden was overwhelming. Somebody needed to take on the challenge to cultivate Christ-centered leaders through story-centric methods. I sensed God saying that the world is waiting. As the Freedom to Lead team began to come together, we struggled. Tackling this challenge meant laying aside methods refined over decades of cultivating leaders. We would need to unlearn much that we had learned. In short, we would need to start over, or at least reboot our approach to leadership development.
Freedom to Lead is a trailblazing development in the missions world. It is the only ministry today that specifically gears leadership development to story-centric learners. It cultivates leaders to become effective and Christ-centered, and it does this using non-literate methods. One ministry leader recently said, "I believe that 20 years from now, we will look back and say that the story-centric curriculum from Freedom to Lead is one of the greatest mission developments of our generation." Does leadership development make a difference? Let's ask Abhi.
I'm very excited, and I see a bright future. We were in fact worried because the churches were growing and the weak leaders would weaken the church. But now that we have this model in place, we believe that we have a long way to go, and I think we are very hopeful about reaching out to the nook and corners of the rural parts of Orissa.
We believe that this work is pivotal to the advancement of God's kingdom on earth. But we can't do it alone. So would you join our team and help develop more Abhis around the world? Pray for us. Consider making this work a financial priority in your budget. Become a partner in this unique adventure. Thank you.